Hey everybody, Jacques here at Monkey Guitar Repair with video number 4. It's going to be about intonation. Now, basically what intonation is your guitar's ability to be in tune with itself. I'm not talking about tuning stability or anything like that. I'm talking about, you play a chord in one place, it's in tune, you play a chord somewhere else and it's out of tune. What happens and how do we fix it? Well, basically intonation is required because when we pick a string and tune it, open, that string is straight. Yes, the string is vibrating, but in order to hear any string, it always needs to be vibrating. So we can kind of eliminate that as a problem. However, when we push the string down to a fret, we are now in effect bending the string. It's no longer straight. And when that happens, it increases the tension, which increases the pitch. Now, the problem lies in the fact of the pitch doesn't rise uniformly. There's a relationship between how tight the string is and how high your action is, or how far away the strings are. Obviously, the higher the string action, the more you're going to bend the string and the higher the pitch rise is going to be. So that's one thing we need to account for. The second thing is the tension of the string. Let's just do a little thought experiment here. If you had a string that was pulled with 1 pound of tension and then you pushed it down with 1 additional pound of tension, you've doubled the tension and doubled the pitch. Well, if you had a string with 100 pounds of tension and pushed it down with 1 pound of tension, you're only adding 1%, causing a significantly smaller pitch rise. So the tighter the string, the less the pitch is going to rise. The looser the string, the more the pitch is going to rise, given the same action or the same tension increase. Well, because all different types of strings, like whether you've got a wound third, for example, on this acoustic, or if you've got a plain third on an electric, those are going to require different intonation offsets. Now, how do we do that? Well, basically what we do is the 12th fret is the theoretical center of the string. And I say theoretical because if it was the actual center of the string, literally the midpoint from the nut to the 12th fret, then the 12th fret to the saddle, if it was the actual center of the string, all of the notes would always be sharp because of the bending of the string problem. So what we do is we actually make the string a little bit longer to account for that. And what that in effect does is it moves all of the frets back. They're no longer the center. They're a little bit further down than center, and flattens them and brings them back in tune where they're supposed to go. Now, and all that is done on an acoustic guitar is by shaving or shaping the saddle. Now, a lot of people think that, how much difference can that actually make? Well, I think you'd be actually surprised because the, hold on a second. Sorry, my heater cut in. I think you'd be surprised because if you do a little thought experiment here, you notice how big the frets are up here and then how small the frets are down here. Imagine if the frets kept going. By the time they got here, the frets would be absolutely minuscule. So moving 1 or 2 thousandths of an inch down here can actually be the equivalent of moving a fret. So by the time it goes down to here, it makes a much bigger difference than a lot of people would imagine. So the small, tiny little shavings that I do when I'm adjusting the bridge really do make a big difference down here. Now on an electric guitar, we have saddles that are adjustable, and no problem, we can do that. But that's what intonation is. As far as how to do it, that's going to be for another video. But yeah, that's why when I'm adjusting the intonation, it's the thing that I take and spend the most time on, because it can really make the difference between an okay guitar and a really awesomely sounding guitar. Well, when it comes to the intonation during the setup process, it is always the last thing to do, because if I do anything to change the string height at all, either by adjusting the neck or adjusting the saddle, I've completely thrown away everything that I've just done with regards to the intonation. So it always needs to be, there's 3 steps that need to be followed, and I'll reiterate this in tons of videos, is that number 1, you have to adjust the neck first. The neck needs to be adjusted correctly first before anything else is done. The second step is to adjust the height at the saddle so that the guitar plays like you want it. Everything is going to be right. Then once you've done that, then we can start adjusting the saddle and getting the intonation exactly where it's supposed to be. If any of those are done out of order, you're basically starting from scratch. The neck, actually no, I'm not going to talk about that today. I'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, so thanks so much. Have yourself a great day, and we'll talk soon.